Coming up, an interview with singing sensation Tina Lewis Glenn. Right here on Matters of the Heart with John Redmond. Stay tuned.
We seek silver and we seek gold.
It's so easy to say I love you, but somehow your affection sends me on an international pilgrimage of love, a journey that allows me to love you in Swahili, French, Je t'aime, Spanish, Te amo, German, Ich liebe dich, Italian, Ti amo, Swedish, Ja älskar dig, Russian, Ja lublю тебя, Chinese, Wu ani, Irish, Taka Ogamet, and oh yes, Greek, Sekamo. Matters of the Heart family, thank you so much for tuning in. I am so glad you all decided to stop in and listen in and be with us today. And trust me, you all will not be disappointed. We have singing sensation and AfterTouch music artist Tina Lewis Glenn in the house, and we're going to be doing a heartfelt interview with her. And trust me, you all do not want to miss this, so just stay tuned.
What's up, everyone? You're listening to JBCM Radio. You can learn more about us at jbcmradio.com. We are here expanding the appreciation of creativity in all forms.
Oh yes, you're tuned into the right station. We're going to jump right into this show. This is Tina Lewis Glenn, Po Pilgrim of Sorrow, from her album, You Can Make It, right here on Matters of the Heart.
Pilgrim of sorrow, I'm tossed in this wide world alone. No hope do I have for tomorrow. I'm trying to make it my home. I am a poor pilgrim of sorrow, lost in this wide world alone. No hope to have for tomorrow, and I'm trying to make it my home. Sometimes I am tossed and driven, Lord. Sometimes I don't know where to roam, but I heard of a city called heaven, trying to make it home, my home, baby. Just trying to make it home. My home in the sky. Oh, my Father, He's gone on before me. My mother, she's twisted in sin. My brothers and sisters don't know me because I am trying to get in. Sometimes I am tossed and driven, Lord. Sometimes I don't know where to roam. But I heard of the city called heaven, and I'm trying to make it my home. Sometimes I am Make it mine, 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 mine. Sometimes I am tossed as a river, Lord. Sometimes I don't know where it is that I and I heard of a city called heaven, and I'm trying to make it mine. Trying to make it my home, my home, my, make it my home, my home, my home. Oh, I'm a pilgrim and a stranger. I'm a pilgrim.
Matters of the Heart listening audience, thank you so much for joining us. Do we have a show today for you? On the phone is my homegirl, Tina Lewis Glenn. And guess what? She is a professional recording artist. She's a singer, songwriter. She is a mother. She is a wife. And I just want Tina to say hi to you guys. Tina, can you say hi to the listening audience?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm glad that you all are listening and taking time out of your schedule to join us this afternoon.
Tina, thank you so much for being here. This just means so much to me. Tina, tell us a little about, you are a professional recording artist. First, how long have you been singing?
Oh, a long time. I would say, I'll just say this, I started at age 3. I've been singing 40 plus years. I'll just say that. You know, I can't say, you know, how many years specifically because I'd have to sit here and actually count. But I would say 40 some odd years, absolutely.
Tina, we have been following you ever since I've known you. I've been following you and what you've been doing in the industry, the music industry. And you've worked with so many different artists and people and on different projects. And these are some like humongous names. Can you tell us some of the artists that you've worked with?
Oh, you're going to put it on me, huh?
Amen.
I would say Take 6 is a group that I've worked with pretty closely. And I've worked with members. Mark Kibble is on the song Poor Pilgrim. He's doing the background vocals on that song on my project. And then I would say Larnell Harris. I would say Whitley Phipps. Commissioned, BB and CC Winans, Patti LaBelle, Peebo Bryson, Narda Michael Walden, a ton of people. I can't name everyone, sorry. The Hawkins, because I'm here in the Bay Area, and so I was an Edwin Hawkins singer for a number of years. I had the wonderful pleasure of working with the late Bishop Walter Hawkins, and it was just a treat to work with such an amazing musician. He was just amazing in the studio, and just live performance, just awesome. So those are some of the people, and that's it. I don't.
No, that is so amazing. I remember back in Oakland, we went to a concert. It was a fundraiser, I think, and the Walter Hawkins and the Edwin Hawkins put it on, and I remember me and Sister Ward went, and we were way up in the back somewhere, and we saw you. We heard that you're going to be singing background, so of course we wanted to go, and you actually sang background with the Edwin Hawkins singers. I think that's who they were, and you backed up Patti LaBelle, you backed up Edwin Hawkins, you backed up Walter Hawkins, you backed up, and that was the first time I ever heard of who this Patti LaBelle was. My mom didn't let us listen to secular music, quote unquote. And I think the tickets were like $25. And when I got through here and you do background with Patti LaBelle, whoever this unknown quote unquote woman to me was, and y'all were doing and around, y'all were doing her "You Are My Friend" background, and she was hollering, and she kicked off her shoes. And I was like, I felt like I didn't pay enough for that ticket. I was trying to look for somebody to give some more money to, because it was such a dynamic concert, and you did just an amazing job. We were so proud of you.
Can I just say something about Patti personally?
Yes.
She is the sweetest woman ever. I don't know what other people's experience is with her, but my personal experience with her, she is funny and just really funny, down to earth, but the sweetest woman ever. I was like Edwin's go-to person for him, because I have him verses 1 through 4, or how many ever verses in a song. They're all embedded in my head from years previous when I was a chorister in my church in Buffalo. But so Patti needed some lyrics to a hymn. And Edwin looked at me and he said, go to her. And she came over and we wrote the lyrics down and put them on the floor so that she could see them in big letters. and then she started cracking all these jokes about how she wouldn't be able to see, and then start singing the verse as she would see it if her vision went crazy. And I mean, we just laughed and laughed and laughed. She is a great, 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 sweet, kind woman. She's amazing. So I had a great time with her. I really did.
Wow, she is definitely a diva, definitely a legend, and that's all I keep hearing from all the other artists that have talked to her and I've talked with and who've worked with her. They all say the exact same thing about the great Patti LaBelle. So let's talk about you being a recording artist, and you actually put out your own record in 2006. What was the name of your record? Are you interested in being a sponsor or underwriter for this amazing show? Then call 719-299-0879. That's 719-299-0879 and ask for Jay.
Hello everyone, I'm Amira Griffin. You're listening to JBCM Radio. You can learn more about us at jbcmradio.com. We are here to inspire you to embrace your creativity.
I've got love and joy in my life. Oh, yes,
so let's talk about you being a recording artist, and you actually put out your own record in 2006. What was the name of your record?
We entitled the project "You Can Make It," and I'll just say this, that my producer sent me the song, and he told me that if I didn't record this song, that he was going to give it to Yolanda Adams. And I I was like, well, let me hear it. And not only when I got the song, I started listening to it and I just started crying. I was at work and I just started crying because it was right where I was, right at that moment in my life. I knew, okay, I had to do this song. But even more amazing, the guy who wrote the song, we grew up together in Buffalo. And I couldn't believe that he became this amazing and tender and very pointed songwriter. And so when we recorded the song, God just kind of moved in the recording of it. And in the playback, we had people come and listen, and everybody agreed that's the title track. And so that's, what we went with.
And how inspirational is just that title. It's an awesome song, but especially in a time right now in 2016, people need to know that there is hope for them, that they truly can make it.
Right. Well, I think of those lyrics now, and those lyrics, they prick my heart even now. That song, I don't think will ever get old for me. And the reason why is because there's always a moment in your life when you're struggling with something. And when you're dealing with something, when you're going through difficult times, and because of it, those lyrics are always fresh. And, the verse says, you can make it when God is on your side. You can make it. Though you don't have the sense, try. No matter what the circumstance, still hold to what is true. You can make it, for God can see you through. And that, at that moment, when I got the song, I was, still trying to get the project finished. And it just didn't seem like it was going to happen. And in that moment, it was like, you can make it. You're going to finish this. It's going to be okay. Just move ahead and know that God is going to see you through. And but it's ever fresh, because we always have things in our life. The lyrics never get old.
This is the perfect segue to go on and play that song right now. We're just going to go on and take a pause for the cause and listen to Tina Lewis Glenn's You Can Make It, right here on JBCM Radio, Matters of the Heart.
The burden that you bear, I know, is strong, and your heart beats to an empty song. And when the right you've done still seems wrong, you've got to keep holding on despite the storm, for victory is yours. You can make it when God is on your side. You can make it though you don't have the strength to fight. No matter what the circumstance, still hold to what is true. You can make it, for God will help to see you through.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am your host, John Redmond, and oh my goodness, I cannot believe I have the Tina Lewis Glenn on the phone with us right now and interviewing her about her testimonial and her life experience and her music. And it's just been an honor just even talking with her right now. Thank you so much for being with us, Tina.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so glad to have this moment with you and with your audience. This is awesome. Thank you.
I just want to talk so much more about just music. I can just go on because I've seen so much and heard so much from you and followed you so many years, and you just have like this portfolio that is just incredible. But let's talk to the listeners right now about you being a mom and a wife. So you're
Right.
married to. Let's talk about your marriage. You're married to who?
I am married to Richmond Glenn, and we have been married for 28 years. And we have 2 children. My son Julian, he will be 20 in December. I just cannot fathom that he will be 20 in December.
Neither can
And
I.
my daughter, okay, and my daughter Autumn is 15.
Wow.
So that, they are my life, my world, and, they allow me to do my ministry. My kids, ever since they were little, they never balked one time, complained, whined, said they didn't want to go, pouted out their mouth, gave attitude. Never, not one time. Whenever I've ever had an engagement, I had to sing somewhere, they have always been very supportive, very accommodating. My husband is always there because he works as my sound engineer.
Yes. Richmond's been doing that forever.
Yes, and he makes sure my stuff is right. So,
Yes, he does. Richie Rich.
So, it's important to have him there. And, I just didn't want him just to be there. I wanted him to be involved. I wanted this
That's right.
to be about us, not about me. So to have him involved is, that's priceless to me because that's just another aspect that we share. So.
Married ladies, have you all heard that? She involves her husband in her ministry. It's not just her or them, it's us. So married ladies, I hope you all are paying attention. So Tina Lewis Glenn, it sounds like you have the absolutely most perfect, wonderful life. So why in the world did you choose this title, In the Eye of the Storm?
My husband in 2013 in November took sick very suddenly. And my husband, up until that time, had never even spent a day in the hospital, not one day.
Hey friends, this is John Redmond, and guess what? Matters of the Heart radio show is now on Facebook. Yes, post your comments, share your pictures, like us, or even contact us, because you know what? We want to hear what you have to say.
I don't need a wealth of money, fortune, or fame. You can have this whole world, but give me Jesus. We seek silver and we seek gold.
Well, first of all, it's not perfect, so let's stop that right there.
Well, it sounds so perfect.
No, well, you know what? I think that marriage is what you make it.
Yes.
And the vows that we say before God, they are just that, vows. If someone gets sick and they get so sick, I just can't hang, so I got to be out. Or the finances aren't great, so I got to be out. It is for richer or poor, in sickness and in health. to love, honor, and cherish till death do us part. So it's not richer, but then when you get poor, it's like, I'm out. We file bankruptcy, I'm out. That's not. It all of those things make us who we are, and God uses marriage and children as a way to develop our characters for heaven.
Wow. Come on now.
And because we fail to really see that, so many of us spin our wheels going through the same thing over and over and over again because we're not learning the lessons that God is putting before us. Because we jump out of one marriage to another. Now, I can't speak about someone being beaten. God doesn't expect anyone to go through those type of things, but, the abuse and things like that. But God also gives us the ability to be able to forgive and to grow in ways. And I've grown in ways in my marriage. And so trust me, far from perfect, but my husband is my best friend. I would never, I couldn't be without him. That is just impossible for me. And I know he feels the same way about me. He better.
She said he better. Richmond, you better come and say something. After all these years. Dang it.
So I wouldn't have it any other way. When people ask me, you don't have any girlfriends, and I don't, really hang out and stuff like that. I hang out with my kids. I hang out with my husband because that's my job and that's where I'm supposed to be, and that's who I am. And so my best friend is my husband. So I tell him everything, and he tells me everything, and we just have a really close, very tight-knit relationship. And we're letting God use the things in life that we go through to develop us. And so, when you talk about this thing about the eye of the storm, my husband in 2013 in November took sick very suddenly. And my husband, up until that time, had never even spent a day in the hospital, not one day. After a few days, and then, he kept getting sicker. I took him to the doctor, and they said he was fine, and he kept getting sicker. I took him back to the doctor, and they sent us over to the ER. It's always the thing that when they run tests on you, and then when they're done and they come into the room and they close the shade, you know that it's not going to be good news.
Mercy.
And so my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. The only way I can tell you how I felt in that moment, it felt as if someone took me and turned me upside down. He looked at me and I looked at him, and we had left the kids at home because we figured we'd be back later. All of a sudden, I had to go into this mode of calling his parents, and then to call my mom, and had to tell my mom that I couldn't do that. So I called my brother, and I called my brother crying, and I said, hey, I need you to call my mom for me because I can't tell her this because I know this will break her, and I'm already dealing with Richmond, and so I can't.
Exactly.
Her broken heart would just be too much for me. And then I was putting my mind, because I knew I had to go home and get my children, and I had to tell them that their father had cancer. My life quickly changed. And he was in the hospital. He had surgery. It looked like everything, they had removed everything. And then they noticed he had a spot on his liver. They did a biopsy of the liver, and they saw that it was malignant. But they let me take him home because, they was going to let him heal and then start chemo, etc. I took my husband home for one day, 24 hours. And then all of a sudden he started complaining that he could not get comfortable. He just was saying something's wrong. I just can't get comfortable. And so I just grabbed him and I started singing and, singing to him and rubbing his back and quoting scripture, reading the word, trying to calm him down.
Yes.
And, but he kept saying something's not right. And so I, scared to walk out of the room, I told my son, I said, come in here. I need you to come in here and be with your dad, and I need to go out of the room. And I stepped out of the room, took 2 steps, and, my husband, began to spew black stuff everywhere out of his mouth. I stood there and I asked the Lord, I said, should I call 911 or should I drive him myself? And the Lord said, if you wait for the ambulance, by the time they get here, he will be dead.
Oh,
take him,
my God.
get him in the car, and take him. And if you have ever driven with me, I am a swift and precise driver. And a 30-minute drive to the hospital, I got there in about 10 minutes. I mean, I flew. I flew. They took him in the room, and, it was like a scene from, the TV show ER or, these other shows where, you have innumerable nurses and doctors and, people all working on this one person. And I could see my husband's face. His face was changing. His skin was hanging now from it was coming off of his body.
Mercy.
And basically what had happened was his colon, they had sewed his colon, but it had opened up and he had become septic. And so they then told me they had to do another surgery, and they called the surgeon that had performed that first surgery that the week before. And I looked at his face and I knew that it wasn't good. And so I just called family and called my pastor, and, people came to the hospital. I had someone go pick up my kids because, again, I had left my kids at home. I just didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
But I had someone to go and pick my kids up and bring them to the hospital because I didn't know what would be the state of their dad.
Right.
And so when he got out of surgery, he was not well at all. In fact, he was not able to do anything on his own, so they put him on life support. All of this is all new for me, and I've seen my husband in his normalness, but, mechanical breathing is so abnormal.
Right.
And so to see him like that, it just tore me apart. And I just hung on to God. That's all I could do, was hang on, and I think there was a pastor friend of mine by the name of David Hudgens. He came, and when he heard what had happened and how, the state of Richmond, he came out and he pastored all the way in East Palo Alto. And, where we were, that's about an hour and 10, 15 minutes away from where we were. But he came there and he sat with me, and I think he saw that I was hanging on by a thread.
Mm.
And so every time I would say, well, I'm going to go home and I'm going to get the kids, I'm going to bring them to the hospital. And he said, well, I have to go back to church and blah, blah, blah. And I think he'd be gone and that would be it. And I'd turn around and he'd be back at the hospital. And I'm like, what are you doing here?
Wow.
And, God was just speaking to him and telling him to be close by me because he knew that I was on an edge at that point.
Absolutely.
Because I was really battling with God. I didn't want to leave my husband's room, and I was praying to God and asking God, I said, are you going to let him live? I lost my father 11 days before my birthday, before I turned 17.
Mercy.
And that pain, is with me today.
Yes.
And so the one thing I didn't want was for my kids to lose their father early. And it looked like that's where we were. And so I was just really petitioning God and asking God, what's going on here? Are you going to take him from me? And God kept telling me, no, I'm not going to take him. And I kept asking him, I'm just checking in, are you
Right. Lord, did you
God
change your mind yet
no.
or anything?
Yeah.
We need to talk. So
No.
that was the battle. That was the battle that you were going back and forth with the Lord.
Absolutely. And so I kept asking, and God kept saying no.
Amen.
And so, and God had told my husband when my husband had first gotten diagnosed, and he had spent some time with the Lord, he said in the hospital room talking to God, and the Lord told him that he was going to heal him, that he was not going to let him die. And so he held on to that, and went into that surgery holding on to that, and I held on to what I had. And so it was Thanksgiving Day, and my brother had spent the night with me prior there too, because nobody wanted me to be by myself because my husband was still on life support. They couldn't tell me, whether it was going to be good or not. And so I get a phone call, and it's from the hospital. It's from CCU, and I'm terrified. And, but I have to, take this call. And I take this call, and no one's saying anything. It just keeps saying, hold on. They just keep saying, hold on. And then all of a sudden, I hear this rattling of the phone, and it's my husband. And he says to me, where are you?
Aww.
I screamed. John, I'm telling you, I screamed, and my brother, he thought that it was bad
news.
And I was like to my husband, what are you doing on the phone? He was like, I'm looking for you. Where are you? I'm looking for you and the kids. And I was like, we're on our way, So, I mean, it was just, oh my gosh, it was just the craziest. I mean, it was just such an amazing blessing. And so, he was in the hospital for 3 weeks. I'm trying to get all this cut short. He was in the hospital for about 3 weeks and, maybe 4 weeks. And he came out, and then we had to deal with the liver. And so he started chemo, and it seemed like everything was okay. And he had gotten the chemo, and they were supposed to remove this. He was supposed to have another surgery, and they was going to remove it. But then when they went to go set up everything for surgery, he had more spots.
Oh, mercy.
And so I'm sitting there in the doctor's office on his liver now. Now it's all about this liver. And I'm sitting there, and I'm that same feeling. And I'm saying to myself, and I'm saying to God, what are you doing? And so I had to come home, and I just laid on my face. And I just asked God, I said, what are you doing? And God said, he's going to be fine. I need you to go through this. And I said, why? And he said, I just need you to go through this. And so that was like 2014. So then 2015, he's going through chemo again. And he has surgery the latter part of 2015. And so by January of 2016, he had more spots. Some of those spots had come back. And so at that point in time, I was like, okay. I said, God, I need you to tell me what to do here, because obviously you said you need me to go through this, but I need to know what to do as far as treatment for my husband. And so God spoke to me, and he told me, he said, I need for you to take your husband to Cancer Treatment Center of America. And God had already moved everything with our insurance so that we could go. It was my husband changed insurance, doing it for me, because I was supposed to have already moved to Nashville, going kind of back and forth. And because he had gotten sick, I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing anything. And I had already signed the contract with AfterTouch Music to record. And once they knew. They just didn't obligate me to anything. Everyone understood, we're going to let you focus on what you need to focus on, which is your husband and my kids, because I needed to nurture my kids because the uncertainties was affecting them.
Of course.
And so I had to minister to them and meet their needs and talk with them and have open dialogue with them. And then my husband had to have open dialogue with them because he wanted to know how he could help them, how he could support them. And so God had moved everything with this insurance. So when I called Cancer Treatment Center of America, they ran the insurance. They run your insurance. They won't nobody takes you anymore. They run your insurance.
Real talk. Right.
And they told us, they said, you guys have the best insurance we have ever seen. And so they had set everything up. They had set our flights up. They had set to pick us up. And when we got there, my thing was that, okay, God, I said, I need a lift. I don't know where this lift is going to come from. I know you're with us, but I just need a lift. Yes. And, not to advertise for CTCA, Cancer Treatment Center of America, but when I got to that place and I walked in there, I knew there was something different about that place. I knew there was something different about it. And by the time we had seen the oncologist and the chaplain was in the oncologist meeting with us, and prayer was free in that place, and people were free to give God praise in that place. I said, I knew it. Yes, I said, I knew why God sent us here, because this is his place. His people are here. Wow. And so we get such a heavenly experience every time we go. My husband has treatments every other week, as a matter of fact, he is there now. And I'm home, and I have to be home because my, kids are in school, my son works. And so once a month, we all go as a family. And then the other time, my husband will go by himself. So once we'll drive down to Phoenix, and then the other time he'll just fly down and he'll get his treatment. But he is still being treated. He looks great. When I tell people that, he, has cancer, people frown and they look at him really hard. And, and they're like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, he does not, look at all, and I really had to change. I had changed his diet. John, we vegetarians, Yes. In fact, we were vegan, but I really had to change and go organic and change some other things that I was doing with him, and, and even, for the benefit of the kids. But the blessing in all of this is that Cancer Treatment Center of America is able to do testing, and they're able to determine as to whether or not that genetic trait is passed on to your children. And we were really concerned about our children. Definitely. And praise God, it's not a genetic thing. And it did not come from any of Richmond's family members or anything. Richmond feels that when Richmond was 19, he worked at a company, and I won't say what the company is because I don't want to put anything bad out there. But he worked for companies in Cleveland, and it was during the time when we were at Oakwood College at the time, or Oakwood University, and it was during the summer break. But everywhere he said there were signs about this caused cancer, cancer this, cancer that. And he feels that's where he was compromised. And we just don't know how this thing is going to play out. We don't. But I trust God. And I believe what he says. And I hold on to that. I hold on to his promises. And I claim his promises. And we live and we love each other way, 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 way more than we used to now.
This is real. This is real. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And but we believe God. We believe God, and it's not that's all we have. That's enough. I have to kind of think of the lyric to Jesus Alone. The lyric is, all that I need is Jesus alone. You can have this whole world, but give me Jesus. I don't need wealth or money, fortune or fame. You can have this world, but give me Jesus. And I want Jesus because Jesus has promised life for my husband. And he has promised, he just told me, Tina, I need you to go through this. And I see God doing things in me and making me, I'm a much more different person than I was November 16th. Now, he was diagnosed November 17th. So November 17th, I became a very different person. And I just give God all the praise, honor, and glory. The songs take on a different meaning. The delivery takes on a different meaning.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for the 28 years that, it's been 28 wonderful years. We renewed our vows at 25.
Amen.
And that was, I think that was 2013. That was the year 2013. And we did it in August. And then in November, he was diagnosed. And so we were so glad that, we allowed, and we've had all of these things in our lives where we just allowed ourselves to love each other and to be together and to allow life to grow us together as a couple. And to allow our marriage to be a ministry to the world, and for people to see what God can really do when a marriage is truly His. But I am human, and I want more years, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I know that I hold on to God, and I hold on to the blessed hope that if anything happens, I could, something could happen to me, but the thing of it is that we live with the blessed hope that we will see each other again in the earth made new.
God be with you, my dear friend, until we meet again. May His peace and may His joy go with you every day. May His loving arms surround you, keeping you safe from harm. Keep me safe right in your loving arms until we meet again.
So it's interesting that you're saying, not only am I saying in sickness and in health, I'm living this thing out. I'm walking it out. Because you could have had that mentality, Tina Lewis Glenn, that said, you know what? This is my time. I'm out. This is the time I can be out, because he's sick now and this is overwhelming. It's too much. And like you just said that you had signed an agreement with your record label that you can go on and record your album. So this could have, quote unquote, got in the way of your dream or your destiny as a high profile recording artist. But you chose to take the back seat to that and tend to your husband and your family. That's speaking volumes.
I know what my real dream is. My husband. My real dream is not a record deal. That comes and goes, and it. I don't know, John. It saddens me, because the thing about, just for Richard, I remember when we got married, when the pastor got to that part, I elbowed my husband. And I elbowed him because his nickname was Rich. And everybody, my oldest brother calls him Richie Rich. And, His,
I do too.
nickname was Rich, and so I elbowed him, not to say, for Rich. Now my husband makes a good living, but, and he works every day. He works every day. He gets up to work every day. Even though he gets his chemo and he does all that, he goes to work every day. But what is happening in these marriages is that people are not allowing these marriages to shape them and make them into the people that they can be for heaven. And without that, they can't go. And that's a sad thing to see. When my husband was sick, and I'm going to say this, when he was in the hospital, I would not let the nurses wash him up. I would not let them. I spent the night. You would not imagine the nights I have and the hard things I've slept on in hospital. But I spent the night, and I was there for my husband, and I wouldn't let them do one thing for him. I wanted to have the joy and the experience of being able to nurse him, to be able to, help him to walk around, to administer his medicine, to wash him up, I wanted to be, and oh my gosh, the blessing that I got from it, I can't even tell you the blessings that I got from it and how it shaped me and changed me. And I blogged about it. And I said, oh my gosh, what an invaluable moment. Those moments they're priceless to me. And so when people walk away from stuff in their marriage just because they're like, irreconcilable differences, I'm done. They are telling God, no, I'm not going to let you shape me and make me. That's what you're saying, because God has created marriage so that a man and a woman can come together. And even in this world, we have all these things that we go through, and God has to shape and make our characters perfect for glory.
Amen.
And if we don't allow the stuff in this life to shape us, then the character is not transformable for glory. So that means you can't go. And that's deep, but we have to learn to love and to see love and beauty in things that God sees love and beauty in. And it's not, the purses and the coats and the jewelry and the things that we really see, that we think are beautiful. Mm-hmm. It is the sick. It is the widow. It is the orphan. It is the homeless. Those are the things that is beautiful to God.
Amen.
Because those are the things that Jesus, when he was here, those are the things that he paid most attention to. And so when our loved ones are sick, there is so much beauty in that sickness. And God wants us to see that. And that beauty transforms us, and it makes us into better people.
A lot of time at all. How can people get in contact with you and follow you? Or is there a book in the process? That you have so much knowledge and so much.
Oh my gosh. I am writing a book, and I'm writing a book about this whole experience.
Oh, awesome.
And it is very detailed and very intricate. With everything else that I have going on, I'm also writing a book. But if people want to get in touch with me, I don't have people that you can go through. You can come directly to me. I am on Facebook. I'm under Facebook as Tina Glenn. The Lewis is not there, just Tina Glenn, and that's Glenn. And then if you want to contact me by email, I'm tinarglenn@gmail.com. And if you are interested in music, you can email me or contact me on Facebook, send me a message or send me an email, and I will absolutely respond to you. I will absolutely send you music and anything else that you're interested in. Hopefully the book will be done, I'm hoping by the summer also of 2017.
For those couples who are battling with cancer, one of the mates are, and want to just give up and throw up their hands, but they happen to tune in to this broadcast. If you were to see them, if you know that you have their ear, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to fall on their knees and seek God. Because when we get to the point where we are empty and our reserves are empty, that's when we need to fall on our knees. That's when we're the most vulnerable, and that's when the devil comes to have us to give up. But that's when we need to fall on our knees. That's when we need to lay on our face and let God fill us, so that we can give back to our mate in love and not out of anger or frustration or anything like that.
Tina, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an absolute joy, eye-opening, vulnerable, yet inspirational experience. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Matters of the Heart. I am your host, John Redmond, and we'll see you next Sunday.